Preview features photos, results, qualifying round recaps. Pro Stock Motorcycle Q3, 2:44 p.m. Not many riders improved during Saturday's third Pro Stock Motorcycle qualifying session, although the bump spot did change several times. Angelle Sampey started the session outside the field, bumped her way in with a 7.060, 189.66, and then was bumped out again by her teammate, Cory Reed, who tripped the clocks with a 7.038, 189.87. Sampey has only failed to qualify once in her career, and that was due to an injury. The quickest run of the round was made by Andrew Hines, who improved slightly from yesterday's 6.862 to a 6.860 on his Screamin' Eagle Harley-Davidson. Matt Smith also found the 6.8s on his Victory Magnum with a 6.890, 192.52. Smith's wife, Angie, also collected a qualifying bonus point after her 6.920, 190.89 run on her Denza Buell. Points leader Eddie Kravik was expected to challenge Harley-Davidson teammate Hines for the top spot, but slipped to a 6.937. Pro Stock Q3, 3:10 p.m. Greg Anderson continued to set the pace in Pro Stock with a 6.601, 209.20 to lead the third Pro Stock qualifying session. Anderson has collected all 9 available bonus points thus far at Route 66 Raceway. The only driver who was close was Tanner Gray with a 6.609, 208.91. Gray remains second behind Anderson in the qualifying order after last night's 6.556 effort. Drew Skillman also picked up a bonus point after a 6.615, 209.07. Jeg Coughlin Jr. also ran a 6.615 to match Skillman, but did so with a slower 208.30 top-end speed. Summit Racing crew chief Tim Freeman, who is making his Pro Stock debut, also solidified his spot in the field thanks to a respectable 6.629, 208.39 run. Top Fuel Q3, 3:52 p.m. The one bonus point earned by TJ Zizzo doesn't mean anything for his chances of making the countdown to the championship because the local racer won't race enough to qualify, but don't tell him that. Zizzo continued to make a great statement in front of his hometown crowd with the third best pass of the third session, a 3.808 second pass behind Brittany Force 3.783, and Steve Torrance 3.789. Not the top 3 racers from the penultimate session moved up as the track warmed up under patches of sunlight, but Tuners got more information that should help as the weekend progresses. Funny Car Q3, 4:23 p.m. A session riddled with tire shake had a few highlights, most notably for Colliton Motorsports. J.R. Todd scored 3 bonus points with a 4.014 second run, while teammate Sean Langdon nabbed his first bonus point in a flopper with a 4.08 pass. Tim Wilkerson also scored a pair of points with his 4.055. Those were just about the only representative runs made in this session, as everyone else struggled with the track. Luckily for the crew chiefs, there will be one more crack at Route 66 Raceway later this afternoon. Bob Bode holds the bump spot with a 4.662, and John Lawson and Justin Schrieffer are hoping to chase him down. JEGS All-Stars final rounds. The Division 4 team won its 7th overall team title in the JEGS All-Stars, holding off a late charge by the defending champs from Division 3. Division 4 racer Aaron Stanfield led the way with a win in Superstock, and 4 other South Division drivers reached the final round. Team from the Pacific Division claimed the alcohol portion of the JEGS All-Stars thanks to wins by Joey Severance and Shane Westerfield. Top alcohol dragster, Joey Severance def. James Stevens top alcohol funny car, Shane Westerfield def. Doug Gordon competition, Frank Aragona Jr. def. Craig Bourgeois Super Stock, Aaron Stanfield def. James Antoinette Stock, Ryan Mangus def. Joe Sorensen Super Comp, Mike Robolato def. Austin Williams Super Gas, Ken Mostovic def. Jack Collier Super Street, Phil Smeeta def. Don Garbinski Top Dragster, Jeff Strickland def. Lynn Ellison top sportsman, Lester Johnson def. Galita top fuel Q4, 6:45 p.m., a long and oft-delayed top fuel session ended the way as nearly every qualifying session this weekend, with Steve Torrence at the top of the heap. The Texan made a great though not record-setting pass of 3.746 seconds to earn 3 more bonus points and snag pole position at the race he won a season ago. Now he'll try to win in Chicago for the second year in a row while racing against Luigi Novelli in the first round of action. Tony Schumacher, 3.771, and Brittany Force, 3.776, also earned bonus points and will provide stiff competition against Torrence on Sunday. First round matchups: lane choice first, Steve Torrence vs. Luigi Novelli, Brittany Force vs. Kyle Wurtzel, Tony Schumacher vs. Billy Torrence, Clay Millican vs. Pat Dakin, TJ Zizzo vs. Scott Palmer, Blake Alexander vs. Richie Crampton, Andron Brown vs. Leah Pritchett, Doug Paletta vs. Terry McMillan. John Force collided with the wall in a scary moment midway through the final funny car qualifying session, but was able to walk out of the car under his own power. You can see that run in an interview with the 16-time champ here. He plans to race on Sunday. Funny car Q4, 7:36 p.m. Bob Tosca 3 snagged 3 bonus points for the best run of the final session of qualifying with a 3.981 second pass, helping him solidify his spot in the quick half of the field. That gets him a matchup with J.R. Todd, a tough customer and 2-time race winner this season. So, that's not much reward for a racer whose team is finally starting to get things all in a line. On the other hand, Matt Hagan and Ron Capps are on the top of the qualifying sheet and look ready to get healthy, as does teammate Jack Beckman, who is qualified no. First round matchups: lane choice first, Matt Hagan vs. Johnny Lindbergh, Ron Capps vs. Justin Schrieffer, Jack Beckman vs. Dale Creasy, Courtney Force vs. Jim Campbell, Cruz Pedregon vs. Robert Hyde, John Force vs. Tim Wilkerson, Sean Langdon vs. Tommy Johnson Jr., Bob Tosca 3 vs. Jr. Todd Pro Stock Q4, 7:40 p.m. In the final tune-up before Sunday's final eliminations, Greg Anderson was once again the quickest driver in the field with a 6.589, 208.17 to secure the pole position for the 98th time in his long career. Anderson also swept all 12 available qualifying bonus points by making the quickest run in each of the 4 qualifying sessions. Anderson's rival, Jack Coughlin Jr., made one of his best runs of the weekend, relative to conditions, with a 6.596, 207.94, which was second best of the round. Resurgent Jason Line also garnered a bonus point thanks to a 6.599, 208.30 in his Blue Summit Camaro. Round 1 pairings: lane choice first, Greg Anderson vs. David River, Tanner Gray vs. Wally Stroop, Matt Hartford vs. Mark Hogan, Jason Line vs. Tim Freeman, Vincent Nobile vs. Chris McGaha, Jack Coughlin Jr. V. Salix Laughlin, Eric Anders vs. Drew Skillman, Derek Kramer vs. Bo Butner Pro Stock Motorcycle Q4, 8:03 p.m. The big story in Pro Stock Motorcycle was not who qualified, but who didn't. For just the second time in her career, Angelle Sampey will not be a part of Sunday's final eliminations. Sampey headed into Q4 facing a 7.039 bump spot and could only manage a 7.086. The only other time she was listed as a non-qualifier was during the 2015 Las Vegas event when she suffered an injury and was unable to continue. Sampey's teammate, Cory Reed, did make the field in the no. 15 spot. At the front of the field, Hector Arena Jr. stole the top spot from Andrew Hines with a 6.852, 197.45, but Hines stole it back with a 6.849, 194.83 a few minutes later. The final bonus point went to Matt Smith after his 6.891 pass. Round 1 pairings, lane choice first, Andrew Hines vs. Cory Reed, Hector Arana Jr. vs Marc Ingwersen, Eddie Kravik vs. Kelly Kluntz, Matt Smith vs. Steve Johnson, Jerry Savoie vs. Greg Underdahl, Latonglet vs. Scotty Polachek, Angie Smith vs. Joey Gladstone, Hector Arana Sr. vs. Ryan Duller. Top Fuelo qualifier Steve Torrance. It was a lot cooler yesterday and a lot later in the evening when we ran, and it was pretty much optimal conditions to go out there and do what we did. I was a little bit surprised to see it, a 3.67. I wasn't real confident that it would stick. I saw a lot of cars that were capable of doing the same thing go out and smoke the tires. It is a huge confidence booster to go into race day and into the second day of qualifying to know that Richard Hogan and Bobby Logana have a real good handle on the tune-up. I think that's the most dominating performance we've had from our race car since Dallas of last year. I think the race car we had last year was the best one we've ever had, and this one is getting close to that. This makes me feel like I'm 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I'm not bragging at all, but it's pretty darn impressive when you go out and outrun the field by 500ths last night and 300ths today. This class is very close. There have been races where it's been as close as pro stock. That's not something that you see very often, and it makes you feel good going into race day. I'm pretty amped up. Funny Carlo qualifier Matt Hagan, we changed everything since the beginning of the year. We have different track conditions. We've had to regroup and make big huge wholesale changes to this Mopar funny car. Obviously, it's take a few runs and a few races to get there. I really feel like we've closed the gap on Courtney Force now. We can go out there and throw down a good number if the conditions and the track is there. The confidence is there. We have more power than we need, it's just a matter of how to pull it back and reel this car in and run the numbers that the track can handle. At the end of the day, I'm very confident going into tomorrow, but then again, it's a fuel funny car, so you never know what's going to happen. I'm blessed to have that #1 spot for now. For everyone thinking those Chevys are running up front, we've got those Mopars going again. Give Dickie Venables, crew chief, enough time and he'll figure it out, it's just a matter of runs. Pro Stock Low qualifier Greg Anderson, it's not me. It's a team doing this. There is nothing the driver can do to make it go low ET. This is the 5th time I've done it this year, but this is the first time it's been a clean sweep. We've had low ET of every session. That's a good feeling going into Sunday. We all know I've had a great qualifying car all year, but haven't quite been able to get the job done on Sunday. If I can't get the job done tomorrow, something is wrong. Something is seriously wrong. The horse is under me. It's just up to me to ride it. I feel great going into tomorrow. The only thing I wish I could change is I wish we could race tonight, because for some reason Sunday has been a little bit of a hiccup for me. That's the way they wrote the rulebook, so we're going to have to come back tomorrow and try again. My Summit Chevy is getting better at every race. If you can gain thousandths every weekend, that's a mile in this class. If I can go my job on the starting line tomorrow, I'll have a great chance of going the distance. There are 12 of the 16 cars that absolutely should win the race tomorrow, but only one can. Pro Stock Motorcycle Low qualifier Andrew Hines, we had a good motorcycle today. I left the starting line with the exact same 60-foot time each session, which happened to be my 2 best of the year. I got a hold of the starting line and the track is real good for us. It took a little bit of brain scratching overnight to figure things out after our disastrous Q2. It's a repeatable motorcycle and I can go out there with confidence to go out and attack the tree. It's always nice to leave here with a green hat, even though my son stole it. We threw everything at it. We just kind of went back to some older notes and some new transmission ratios that we brought this weekend. It rides really smooth and really fast. It's nice to get down the track really fast. It's nice to run late at night. It's a different scenario. It's fun and the track was as tight as we could ask for. You could tell it was really good. We're happy with the way our street rod is performing. My bike is good but we're working to fix Ed's bike, but at least we have our Harleys at the front. Saturday recap. Friday no. 1 qualifiers hang on to snag pole position on Saturday. Features Blake Alexander got to the first Top Fuel final round of his career in Atlanta, but the second-year Top Fuel racer turned on the red light against Leah Pritchett, ending his weekend in disappointment. He's no rookie, he drove for many years in a funny car, but he's getting a new opportunity this season to drive in a very good race car fielded by Bob Vandergriff Racing. I didn't do a good job driving in the final and beat myself up about it, then I took some time to, I'll try to be better and be more prepared next time, said Alexander, who wasn't exactly ready to take a half-glass-full approach a few weeks removed from his loss. It was good for my sponsors, they were really happy about it. He's racing a part-time schedule this season and will be in Norwalk next, not to get too ahead of ourselves, which offers its own set of challenges as he goes from his regular job back into a top fueler. Alexander drove part-time in Del Worsham's dragster last season after moving on from funny car, at least for now. The California native, who now makes his home in North Carolina, is still looking for that elusive first win, but he's probably got his best shot at it driving with Vandergriff. We were like 2 or 3 hundredths off in Atlanta, but I think we're right there, said Alexander, who entered Saturday qualified 6th. Scott Palmer made an addition to his crew this weekend in Jason McCulloch, who recently departed John Force Racing. The former champion crew chief came at the recommendation at Capco Contractors Racing crew chiefs Richard Hogan and Bobby Lagana, which is all Palmer needed to hear before pulling the trigger. Hogan talked to Bobby and he called me and said Hoagie thought it was a good idea and wanted to know what I thought, said Palmer. Obviously, I thought it was a great idea. I didn't even know it was an option. McCulloch is like the rest of us, he loves drag racing, but sometimes it turns into too much of a business. You have to remember, it's somewhat of a business but it's just drag racing. This is just another example in a long list of how well the partnership between Palmer and Steve Torrance's teams is paying dividends. Palmer reached a final for the first time in a long time earlier this season, is running quicker and more consistently and now can count an experienced and talented crew chief among his own. We're just proud to be part of that process with their team, said Palmer. This should help take some of the work away from their team because they hold our hands and they do babysit us and they do put their heart into it. This should take some pressure away from them. I'd like to believe that if we go more rounds and win races that we can eventually repay some of the favor that they've paid us. That tells you a little bit about who Palmer is. At his heart, he wants to pay it forward, whether it be to Torrance or to another racer like himself down the road. He also wouldn't mind winning one of these suckers one of these days. That might come sooner rather than later with someone like McCulloch on board. Making a switch to the 6-disc clutch isn't exactly easy for anyone, but it's especially difficult for a part-time team like Kyle Wurtzel's. The team is planning on attending 4 NHRA races this year, including the JEGS Route 66 NHRA Nationals and the NK Sparkplugs NHRA 4-Wide Nationals, where Wurtzel qualified and lost in the first round. We put a 6-disc in it and we've been kind of chasing our tails trying to figure it out, said Wurtzel, who's getting help from Ron Douglas. We're going to set it up today to slide down through there, and if we can run a 3.88 to 92 that'll be fine because it'll get us into the show and then we'll try to step it up from there. That's effectively the process right now for a team that just won't put that many laps on the car over the course of what constitutes a full campaign. While other teams going through a similar switch, say Scott Palmer's Catspot team, gets 6 times as many laps, Wurtzel just won't. Our biggest problem is that we'll put 25 laps on the car in a year and other drivers will put that number of laps on it in a weekend of testing, said Wurtzel. It's just a learning process. So, as long as we don't tear up too much stuff this weekend, we'll be back out in Norwalk and then not again until St. Louis. We'll probably do some match racing in between then, too. While other teams making the change, like Palmer's and even Sean Reed's, aren't necessarily testing, his point stands. It's a tough decision to make if you want to stay competitive in NHRA drag racing. At some point Wurtzel had to decide to bite the bullet. My goal is always to try to remain fairly competitive as an independent, said Wurtzel. We want to run 3.70s so bad, and we felt we needed to make the change in order to have a good chance to do that. Robert Hight has yet to win a race this season, but don't count out the defending Mellow Yellow Funny Car World Champion just yet. Oh, you hadn't done that? That's good. He's finished as a runner-up 3 times this season and, perhaps more importantly, owns one of the quickest and most consistent cars in the class. The only things keeping Hight from holding a Wally this season have been bad luck, Courtney Force and Matt Hagan, so, usual funny car business. Hight's average elapsed time this season at 3.923 heading into the JEGS Route 66 NHRA Nationals, which is 3rd best in the class. Good conditions should help Hight and Sooner Jimmy Prock out this weekend, even if warm days lie ahead in the 4-race swing that starts in Chicago. He also likes the new combination the team put on the car ahead of the Chicago event. We haven't gotten a win yet, but we have a lot of new parts on this race car and we have a new engine combination, said Hight. We are learning now, and it shows a lot of potential. The new track prep makes it a little tougher for a car like us because we are out there trying to run low ET every run. We are going to adapt, and we will be right there in the mix throughout the summer and into the countdown. The defending champ didn't get his first win of 2017 until the Mopar NHRA Mile High Nationals in Denver, the 14th event on the schedule. That doesn't mean Hight wants to follow that exact blueprint this year, but everything seemed to work out just fine for the Auto Club of Southern California team a season ago. If Hight does pick up the Wally in Chicago, it will be his first. He has run it up twice in Chicago and qualified no. 1 once but never sealed the deal at Route 66 Raceway. Cruz Pedregon entered the second day of qualifying in the no. 5 spot on the back of a 3.969. The 2-time Funny Car World Champion made that pass in the final qualifying session of the evening after shaking the tires in his first run on Friday. Pedregon has enjoyed a bit of a renaissance this season with crew chief Aaron Brooks and assistant crew chief Glenn Husar including grabbing a win at the NK Sparkplugs NHRA 4-Wide Nationals. Yesterday we stumbled out of the blocks a little bit and spun the tires in the first run, but we figured out where we miscalculated in the first run and then we came back and made a nice 3.96 to put ourselves in the 5th spot, said Pedregon. So even with that slip-up, we were able to get into the top half of the field. Today I think we can either improve or put a couple of nice runs together. Even with that solid run, Pedregon sees an opportunity to improve on Saturday. A 3.96 has started to look a lot more impressive as of late in part due to the new track preparation procedure implemented by the NHRA. Still, with the cloud cover and cool temperatures, there should be room to at least stay on target if not step up. I think with the cloud cover, there's no direct sun on the track, said Pedregon. And a 3.96 isn't a 3.86, I think we'd be talking about something else then. Either way, I maintain that the conditions are the same for everyone across the board. We've been pretty good at being in the top 3 and getting those bonus points. We had a streak going where we had 8 consecutive runs where we picked up bonus points. That's helped Pedregon move into 8th place, just 41 points behind 7th place racer and 2016 world champion Ron Capps. After clawing his way into the countdown to the championship a year ago, Pedregon is well on his way to locking up a playoff spot well before the Chevrolet Performance US Nationals. John Force has struggled this season, no bones about it. but a great pass on Friday night had the 16-time champion looking like his old self again. Force entered Saturday qualified 6th on the back of a 3.971, one of just 6 3-second runs the former champ has made this season. "I love the fans and I love to drive this peak Camaro funny car," said Force. "Out there tonight, I was like a little kid out there giggling on the burnout. I was thinking this is why I am out here, to have fun. I have a race car I can race with. It is going to have its struggles, but it has been a while since I was one of the last cars down the track," while Force gets the opportunity to play cheerleader for his daughters Courtney and Brittany week in and week out, the former of whom has won 2 races in a row and the latter of whom is the defending Top Fuel champion. "It doesn't compare to getting it done yourself. It was good to be running beside Courtney," said John. "I watch her every week go low ET, or winning races. I want to show her I still have the stuff. My race car thinks I am 20 years old and when I am in it I am 20. I will drive the shit out of it and win races." He's looking for his first win since the 2017 Emily Motor Oil NHRA Gator Nationals, one of the longest such droughts in his career. Ending that drought is obviously on his mind, but just going rounds this weekend would go a long way towards improving the mind of one of the greatest racers in NHRA drag racing history. He's still winless on the 2018 season, but things are clearly looking up for Jason Line, who snapped a frustrating string of 5 Round 1 losses with a semi-final showing in Topeka 2 weeks ago. It's well known that the Summit team uses a significant part of the regular season in order to test for the final 6 countdown to the championships races, but even Line admits that going more than a month without a win light is far too long. "We might be testing, but that's not why we've run as poorly as we have. I wish I could use that as an excuse but I can't," said Line. "We were certainly pointed in the right direction 2 weeks ago in Topeka, and we did some work in the race shop since then. We're figuring things out a little slower than we wanted to, and we still have a ways to go, but Topeka gave us something to build on." On Friday in Chicago, the Line did indeed build on his recent success with a 6.560 best that has him ranked 4th. He is just 0.014 second off the pace set by teammate Greg Anderson. Weather can be a big variable in Chicago, and that could be our biggest challenge this weekend, but after Topeka, I think we're prepared for anything," Line said. "It's a great facility and a nice racetrack there at Route 66 Raceway, and it would be really good to get a Summit Racing Chevrolet in the winner's circle. There is an old adage in sports that winning is contagious, and after his first win last month in Topeka, Derek Kramer is certainly hoping that it holds true for pro stock racers." Kramer has often stated that he felt that his driving skills were on par with the most competitive drivers in the class and that his longtime crew chief, Michael Heiner, was also a capable tuner. He had the opportunity to prove both points after entering an engine leasing agreement with the KB team that put competitive power under the hood of his new American ethanol Camaro. Kramer entered the season with just 6 round wins to his credit, and he's now got 17, including his runner-up in Las Vegas and his win in Topeka. "We finally won our first race in Topeka and I think that was the break we needed to continue our success," said Kramer. "We've got some serious power thanks to KB Racing, and now that we have our first win off our back, I think there are more to come real soon. We wanted to see just how good we could be this year, and so far I think we've done well, or maybe even surprised ourselves a few times."